this dude drives by and somehow my client maybe leers at his girlfriend or checks out his girlfriend. I have no idea how the guy in the car knew that or thought that was going on, but that's what the guy thought, all right? So he stops his car, gets out of his car to supposedly yell at my client, stop randomly checking out my girlfriend as I'm driving by. And my client, this was the winter time, so my client had like, you know those camo hunting suits, like the all one,
yes,
like the onesie.
Yes.
Right, so my dude supposedly had one of these onesies on, and pulls out a gun and just starts blasting.
Wait a second, a guy got out of the car and started an altercation with a guy dressed like that?
Yeah.
That's the 1 percentile that I think is armed.
Correct. Not in a good area at all either. Just some random dude on the side of the street wearing the full up camo onesie.
Oh.
Yeah. This guy must be really upset, really protective of his girlfriend.
So when you get out of the car, I mean, as a pedestrian, you think potentially your life's in danger if somebody's...
Honestly, like nowadays, yeah. Like you could see that scenario play out in Tampa or Jacksonville, right? Yeah, but that's not what this guy said. This guy said he just got up to scream at him. My guy pulls out a gun, Dirty Harry style, and starts blasting. Thank God it was like more than 50 yards away, right? So the dude didn't get hit, but the back bumper of his car was just riddled with bullets, right? So the odd thing is this happened really close to the Pensacola Police Department, like literally just right down the road, a couple blocks from the police department. So this dude does a U-E in his car, goes down to the police department, and the bullet fragments were literally still in the bumper. One of them was like sitting on, it was a truck, so one of them was sitting on the tailgate.
Really?
Yeah, the back of the tailgate, just sitting there.
Just balancing.
Right. So when the dude rolls into the police department, and he's like, this guy just shot at me, the cops thought he was crazy. The cops were like, oh, just another crazy dude coming here saying... They went out and they looked at the car like, oh yeah, like there's literally a bullet fragment sitting right there on the tailgate. So they drive down, they get my client. Right? We have this full trial where maybe the story was a little bit different. Maybe the guy was in the bad area to do things he shouldn't do, i.e. purchase things he should not purchase, and maybe the deal went south, and maybe that was a shootout kind of scenario. Like what sounds more likely? Oh, I got so upset that you were leering at my girlfriend in the ghetto.
Which is a trait that if you have a pretty girlfriend, you get used to real quick.
Yeah. Or you could just hit the gas. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's that big of a deal, go ahead and ride on out of there, my friend. Yeah. I would agree. Like you would think that the guy's probably been downtown with his girlfriend. Probably been leered at. Like if you take your girl to Seville, guarantee there's going to be some leering. If your girl is a leering kind of girl and you take her down to Seville, there's going to be some leering going on. You just got to roll with it, man.
You have to.
All ages at Seville, that's what's going on there. So that was his story. So it's like, okay, if I tell people this whole shooting went down because you were upset that someone was leering at your girl literally in a car 50 yards away, or was it more likely that you were down on South Davis Highway, right under the bridge, or not the bridge, but the overpass, buying some drugs? So I can tell you which one the jury thought happened. The jury thought it was the latter. I'll never forget it, man. As I was given my closing argument, they started laughing. And this is why they started laughing. The dude who accused my client of the shooting wore red cowboy boots to court. He had red cowboy boots. And you know those those 70s button-up shirts that had the massive collars? He looked like a Bee Gee. That's what he looked like. He looked like he was straight out of Disco Bee Gee. He had this massive collared shirt, and I'm not kidding you, red cowboy boots. That's what he wore to court. So I was in front of the jury, and I was like, all right, which one is it? The dude who wore the Bee Gee shirt and red cowboy boots was upset about someone leering at his girlfriend, or he was there to buy some cocaine? Well, which one is it? Does he look like a cocaine kind of guy? And they started laughing. The jury starts laughing. One of the dudes was like, yeah, I've seen that, back in my day. So this is what goes down. After the jury starts laughing and I knew that I had him rolling, my assistant was up in the trial with me. So I think we're on the 4th floor. I go to the elevator, and she's like, what do you want to do, Chris? Because we're waiting for the jury to come back for the verdict. She goes, do you want me to order you some food, or do you want me to go downstairs and look, see what the emails or phone calls? I was like, I'll never forget this. I said, listen, go down to your office. You're going to get a call in 10 minutes. She goes, what do you mean? I was like, they're going to call you in 10 minutes, and they're going to tell you the verdict's ready. So just go ahead and get down there so we don't miss that call. I'm going to stay right here. And I just sat there, waited. 10 minutes, she's back up the elevator. Time to go back in. It was literally 10 minutes not guilty on an attempted murder. I mean, that is unheard of. But it was like that. That's how quick it was.
What is it with these people showing up to court like goofy golfers?
Man, when I used to work with the state, I would have to cover what's called arraignment court. So Florida's really goofed up about how we handle criminal cases. We are like the odd man out compared to almost every other state. So every other state, normally for felony offenses, for important stuff, you get indicted. Okay? And normally what happens is the cop takes months to investigate, build up the case, like you see on the TV shows. All right? They go and they meet with the district attorney's office and let's look over the evidence. You got the lineup for us? That's not how we do it here. It is, you're arrested, you get charged a week later, 2 weeks later. So arraignment is this throwback to back in the day when they would indict people. Because how it used to work is when you got indicted, the court had to tell you what you got indicted for. The court had to say, hey, grand jury met and they indicted you for X, Y, and Z. That was what we called arraignment. It was a time for the government to tell you this is what you got indicted. Well, we don't do that here in Florida. The government here in Florida is allowed to basically willy-nilly charge you based upon a promise of the prosecutor. So the prosecutor signs this document that says, under oath, I swear that there's probable cause to charge this guy. That's it. All right. There's no grand juries really for anything other than capital murder. That's about the only thing we do grand juries for. So arraignment court, you get all these people who were arrested, they're either bonded out by now or they're still in custody, and they would show up to hear what they're being charged with. But because they already got arrested, they didn't know that that was the process. They were just told to show up on this particular day. They didn't know that there could be a difference of, I got arrested for this, but I'm really going to be charged with something else. Like they didn't get that. They're like, man, I got arrested for this, so that's what I'm going to be charged with. So this is what happens at arraignment court. You really just show up. You enter a plea. Because this whole investigative process doesn't happen, that kind of happens after the fact, everybody pleads not guilty. Everyone says, I'm going to plead not guilty. Let me see the evidence. Because the prosecutors don't even have the evidence at that time. Is
that called the discovery?
Yeah, that's called discovery. So that's what we call it. But the prosecutors at arraignment, they don't even know what evidence they have. They don't have videos because that whole stuff didn't happen beforehand. They're just filing these informations like no tomorrow. So when you're sitting there as the defense attorney, you're not really doing that much. You're just showing up saying, we plead not guilty, give us the new court date, we want a jury trial, we waive the reading of this stuff, yada, yada. So what we used to do is people, because they thought they were going to court, would wear the best clothing that they had, right? So we would have this bingo game where people would wear kind of the same kind of stuff over and over again. We would play arraignment bingo. Because people didn't know that you were just showing up to get a new court date. So some people would wear like the finest bedazzled jeans they had. When it was cold, do you remember when the M&M NASCAR jackets were like the hot thing? People would show up with the M&M jackets, real nice, nicely cleaned. So we would have this little, basically score sheet to kind of amuse ourselves. So yeah, people wear some interesting things. Court.
An image plays a really important role when you're in court.
100%, especially in front of the jury.
And I would like to think flashy's probably not the best route.
No, man.